So my dad built the business from 2001 to 2008. Everything was going pretty well at that point. And then the market crashed and he lost everything. So he built his dream home in 2004, had to sell his dream home, had to sell his boat, jet skis, dirt bike, four-wheelers, basically sold everything that he had, moved into one of his own apartments and lived there for the next 3 years just to get ahead and get back on his feet. So 2008 was definitely a humbling experience for both of us. I wasn't involved in the business then. I didn't really have any idea what was going on because I was too selfish and kind of living in my own world. But we both look back now and say, 2008 was probably the best thing that could have happened to both of us. So in the Bible, and I'll talk about my faith here in a little bit, it talks about humbling yourself and you will be exalted. Exalt yourself and you will be humbled. And I think both of us at the time, at least I know myself, it was all about me. I was always up here and everything was about me, and I really needed to be humbled before I could come back to where I was. So going back to 2004, when my dad and mom, they built their dream home, it was a really cool experience for them to be able to do that. It was right on the lake. They lost their home in 2008 when the market crashed. And a really cool full circle story is that my parents sold their house in 2008. And again, I have to iterate, it was their dream home, right? Everything they could have wanted. It was right on the lake. I only lived there for about 3 years or so. But the guy they sold it to in 2008, they ended up buying it back from him in 2023 and remodeling the whole entire house. And now that's where they live there today. So it's just a really cool story, in my opinion, of how God works in mysterious ways. He brings us down just to bring us back up, and they get to experience the fruit of their labor as well. Let's see here how to figure this out. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background of how the business started and how we began. So my dad, Scott, started this business in 2001. He was in the HVAC business for about 15 years or so before starting construction. And he would be doing HVAC, running ductwork, piping and everything, and he would look around and say, man, I can frame. I can do that. I can build this house. I can do electrical. I can do plumbing. I can do all this. Why am I stuck here working for my brothers in this moment when I can do all this myself? So he ended up quitting his job, working for his brother, and starting his own business in 2001. I wasn't really around then. I started part-time in 2005. I say part-time because, again, at this point, I was very unmotivated. I didn't really even want a job, and I kind of would sweep up and work on the demo crew, but was completely out of it. I had no idea what I was getting into, and I had no motivation to work in this business. 2013 came around. 2013 was another year. You guys will understand here in a little bit. I love numbers. I remember numbers. I live by my numbers, and it's really cool to see where we've come in such a short amount of time. So 2013, my wife and I had been. Let me go back a little bit. So I worked in the golf industry. I worked as a car salesman, and I worked in the HVAC industry. So I was kind of all over the place, and I just didn't really have any purpose in what I was doing. So I was, doing all these jobs, and I was decent at them. I'd put some effort towards them a little bit more than I was in the past, but I still was just unfulfilled. So my wife and I began just praying. And again, you'll hear, I'm a man of faith. It's very important to me. But we just started praying like, God, what is it that you want me to do? I'm stuck here. I don't have purpose. I'm unfulfilled. And so we both thought like, oh, maybe God wants me to go back and work for my dad and go in construction. And I was like, no way. No way. I would never do that. It's 2005. That was horrible. I was demoing and I was getting dirty and sweeping, and I was just so unfulfilled. But then one day I came into church, and this lady came up to me, and I'll never forget. Her name was Irma Pena. Irma Pena came up to me. I had never met her. Maybe I had seen her before, but I did not know who she was. And she came up to me and she said, I was in my living room yesterday, which was a Saturday, and all of a sudden I had this vision of you, and whatever you're praying about, you need to be working with your hands and building strong foundations. And she goes, does that mean anything to you? And I looked at my wife and I said, that means everything. how did you know that? I don't even know you. She goes, I have no idea. That's what God told me. You're supposed to be working with your hands and building strong foundations. And so pretty much immediately, I quit my job. I was working for my uncle, which was my dad's brother at the time. And I started full-time February of 2013. So 2013, again, was one of those years that is memorable in our eyes. 2008, memorable. 2013, memorable. So I started February of 2013. I got to work with my dad for 9 months, basically every day, just learning from him, learning the do's and the don'ts of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. 9 months later, in November 2013, an EF4 tornado took our whole town basically away. It damaged or destroyed 1,100 homes in our town of 16,000 people. So he was immediately thrust into the role of, we have to help these people. And I was immediately thrust into the role of, I don't have my dad anymore with me every day. So I had to then begin to do things on my own. So 2008, when my dad lost everything, he was around $250,000 in debt after he sold his house and all of his stuff. And guys, it was just stuff. That's what it was. It took around 5 years for him to pay off all of his debt. It's just crazy to think. So 2008 to 2013, the tornado hit in 2013. It was an extremely hard time for a lot of people in our town. We were building houses for people who didn't want to build houses. They just wanted a home. They just wanted to get back to what they were before. But 2013, my dad paid off all of his debt. 2013 came. He made the most money he ever had. Insurance paid really well to rebuild these homes. And so it was just kind of crazy. The same year he paid off all of his debt, the same year he made the most money he had ever had in his business. So I began working 2013. I began just watching. That's all I did was watch. And I said, okay, the electricians are going to be here for 3 days. The plumbers are going to be here for 3 days. HVAC is going to be here for 3 days. And just started watching like how many days it took everybody to do things and what we needed to do for more efficiency. We didn't have a job schedule. That was probably the biggest thing that I implemented when we came in. The job schedule was always his head, what was right here. And it was good for him, but it wasn't good for everybody else. So I just, again, started watching and started learning about the schedule and the order of how things should happen. So I came in as a project manager in 2017 into the office. And I remember when I came in, my dad and I were both like, are we going to have enough work for you to come into the office and not physically do labor anymore? And we were like, well, I don't know. Let's give it a shot. So we pulled myself out of the office. I began making schedules for every job. I began helping him become a project manager. I was kind of his eyes and his ears on our jobs. And we just began to slowly grow in those first few years. I became an owner in 2022. And currently, my dad and I are in year 4 of a 15-year buyout. So currently, I own 33% of the company, and my dad, Scott, owns 67% of the company. So today, we're going to talk about 3 secrets of incredible growth, or pillars that define us and lay the foundation for who we are. So we're going to talk about values, people, and tools. So values is the first one I'm going to talk about here today. And there's a few subcategories in each one of these as well. So let's just start with values. So values for me means my faith. I kind of talk on here as the best year and the worst year. 2008, I heard a song when I was going through all my struggles in 2008, and it said, "You're never too far gone." And then it said, "You're never too far beyond repair." And there were so many times in my life where I thought I was too far gone. I was too far beyond repair. I had hurt too many people. I had got myself into too many bad situations that I did not think I could actually get out of them. And I heard that song, and I was like, man, I'm not too far beyond repair. I can do this. So now I tell people, if you knew me then, you wouldn't recognize me now. I used to have blonde, shaggy, long hair, and I've had people tell me, like, I cannot believe you're in the situation you are now. I'll get into it later, but I even had one person say, when they found out I was getting married to my wife, he said, "You guys won't make it 9 months." And I was like, you know what? You might be right, because I had no idea what I was doing when I got married when I was 22 years old. But I want to present a question to you guys today. The question is, Sorry, I'm going to go to the next slide. I got to get used to this. Are you building your house on the rock, or are you building your house on the sand? We're home builders. We're remodelers. So anybody who's building decks or just doing kitchens or bathrooms or pools, are you building your decks on the house, or are you building your decks on the sand? Are you building your pools on the house, or are you building your pools on the sand? It's a question I ask all the time because I want to do things right. My dad taught me to do things right. He taught me to not cut corners, and I promise you, if you do, it'll always come back. So what does it actually mean? Or I'm sorry, which man would you rather be like? In the Bible, it talks about a man who built his house on the rock. The rain fell, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, and that house did not fall. There was another man. He built his house on the sand. The rain fell, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, and it says, great was the fall. So what does it actually mean to build your house on the rock? Or what does it mean to construct your deck on the rock, or build your pool on the rock? Building strong foundations, good quality materials, not cutting corners, great communication, great processes, goes the extra mile, does common things uncommonly well. We'll talk about this here a few times today as well. Common things uncommonly well. It's so important to do, I'm going to say it again, common things uncommonly well. Okay, so what does it mean to build your house on the sand? Foundations are compromised, lesser quality materials, cutting corners, only in it to get paid, bad processes, treating people with disrespect, and does common things poorly. So again, I'll ask you, which man would you rather be like? The man who built his house on the rock, or the man who built his house on the sand? The man who constructed his deck on the rock, or the man who constructed his deck on the sand? All right, the next portion of values is character. Okay, we're going to talk about a few different things here. My last name is Heinold. I got that from, obviously, my dad. He got that from his dad. Heinold is German, and it actually means noble home. So Hein means noble, old means home. A lady came into our house about a year or two ago, and she was talking to my wife and I, and she said, do you actually know what your last name means? And I was like, nope, no idea. I know it's German. And she goes, it means noble home. And I don't even know if she knew at the time that that's what we did was build noble homes, or build homes. And so we take our last name very seriously, and we just believe that we're building noble homes, we're doing noble bathrooms, kitchens, decks, basements, whatever we're doing it noble. My dad always talks about seeing customers at events. So I coach my son's basketball team. I coach golf, baseball. I have 3 kids, so I'm always coaching their stuff. We're at events. We live in a town that has 16,000 people. So you see and know mostly everybody, okay? I've lived in Washington, Illinois. I'm 36 years old my whole life. So every time I go somewhere, I see 10 people that I know, right? But my dad's always talking about, because we do a lot of work for homeowners in Washington where we live, he's always talking about, man, wouldn't it be so awkward if we did a crappy job on our jobs and you'd have to be like, oh my gosh, there's Mrs. Jones, and you'd have to like run away from her, right? Or, oh, we did that bathroom and they hate us now. Let's make sure to not see them. How crazy would that be if that's how we did our jobs and then we had to see these people, right, all the time? Another story I'll give you is my wife just ran for school board in our town of Washington, okay? I want to read what she texted me because last name to me is so important, and it's never been important for her. Her dad left her. She took a name that she didn't even like because she had to, okay? So this is what my wife said about running for school board. She said, coming from a broken home and not living in the same town as my father, my last name never meant anything to people. It wasn't a name that stood out among the crowd or carried any significance. When running for school board, I became very aware of how much weight a last name can carry, good or bad. I am so grateful to have married a man with a last name that means something, not for fame or fortune, but for integrity, character, and faith throughout generations. It is a name that I'm very proud to carry. And she told me about that story. She got elected school board. I don't know if it's because, the last name was popular in our town, but just the importance of legacy and the importance of your last name. I take that very seriously. I have a picture actually of my dad and his dad, Wilbur. Wilbur died almost maybe 12 or 13 years ago. And he started the HVAC business with his brother, passed it on to his two sons, and he was kind of the man. He was who we looked up to. He was the one who taught us everything that we know. He taught my dad everything that he knows. And so it's just so important to have him, and his impact on our lives. So who in here has their last name on their business? Maybe 20, 30 people or so, maybe more. And I'm sure there's more here. I've always felt a little bit more pressure, to do a good job because my last name is on my business. If I just had a business that was Awesome Homes, I don't know if my pressure would be as much as it is when my last name is on my business as Heinold Homes. So I just take it very seriously, and I'm excited to have my last name, and I'm proud to have my last name because it means something. It means noble home. There's a video on YouTube, if anybody wants it. It's by Brian Bullock. It's kind of changed how I look at legacy. What he says in the video is a legacy is something that is passed down. It is your mark. It is your footprint on this earth. It is your contribution to this world. You are passing down a legacy whether you want to or not. If anybody wants this video afterwards, find me and I'll give you a link to it. It's really incredible. All right, one more values is dedication. Obviously, if you want to double your business in 2 years or get close to it or just have growth, right? It takes hard work. Any golfers out here? Anybody golf? Good. Awesome. So this past year, 2024, I went on this journey to become a scratch golfer. I started out as a 5 handicap in 2019, got down to a 2 in 2022, and I think I started this year at a 0.4, which it's really low, but it's hard to get over that mountain to get to a 0.0. What I needed to figure out was where I struggled the most. I had no idea. I just went out there and played. I didn't really practice, and so I'm like, where do I need to get better at? And so I started figuring out I don't hit my irons very well. I don't hit my wedges very well. I'm not good at ball striking. I needed to focus on hitting more greens in regulation. So what did I do? This past year, 2024, I started going on the range and I started hitting these iron shots over and over and over. I quit working on my putter. I quit working on my driver as much as this. What happened? Well, I ended up getting first place in a pretty prestigious tournament. And I got my handicap down to a 0.0. I got it all the way up to a plus 0.4. And here we are now today at a plus 0.2. So I'm still there. I don't know what's next for that, but I just want to show you guys that sometimes you have to stop working on what's well or what's going well to work on what's not going well to move forward, okay? And so I'm relating this to my business. We had to stop working on what was going well for us for a time to what wasn't going well. I'm going to talk about some pain points here, and you're actually going to see these slides twice, okay? So back in 2017, when I became a project manager and I started making these schedules, all I did was hand type them out, just on a Google Doc. I just made a Google Doc, and I would send this individual one to every subcontractor or our people who was on that schedule. And what happens? Well, that schedule changes 3 weeks in. So what I had to do then was take the rest of that schedule and then resend it out to each subcontractor, right? And then the schedule changed again and I have to send it out. I'm like, man, this is just terrible. But the last year or so, or 2 years ago, we got into JobTread, and obviously it helped us so much with our scheduling. And anytime it changes, you move the schedule over and it automatically notifies the people behind it, right? So that was one of the pain points that we had before and we really had to work on. Next one, hand-drawn plans. And sometimes you still have to. We would go to a job site, and this was a plan that my dad drew up. We didn't have a program. Okay, we started this a while ago, and we'd go and we'd hand draw the plans, measure it all, and draw it, and then give it to the homeowner, right? Well, this past year, we implemented a plan scanning app. We use Polycam. There's another one, Render, who's actually here. And you scan the space and it brings the plan to life, right? We have saved so much time with the plan scanning app. It's unbelievable. Now, it's not perfect. You still have to maybe check a few things here and there, but these are some of the things that we've done and implemented that has saved us just countless hours, okay? Handwritten employee schedule. We used to handwrite our employee schedules. We would have a month and then another month, and we would have it all laid out, 8 weeks, and I would change it every 2 weeks. And what would happen after every 2 weeks, then it would change again, and it wouldn't automatically do anything. We had to do it ourselves. And so we were looking for all these small places we were so inefficient to try to help. The availability schedule on JobTread is now tied in to, obviously, our employee schedule and our subcontractor schedule. Manually logging numbers. This was a big thing. Again, I'm a numbers guy. I used to take every job when we got done. I'd make a spreadsheet of how much money it cost and, kind of add them up after the quarter, because sometimes our guys get paid on quarterly commissions. Travis, my CSM, helped me to come up with a custom view on any time our jobs get completed. It automatically populates that job by quarter, by year. You can do it kind of however you want, but then we started auto-populating all of our jobs when they get completed, all of our documents when they get paid, so those Google Docs spreadsheets are no more, okay? And all of these things, you're like, man, yeah, that takes time, but what happens is when you add up 6 or 7 or 10 of these things, your efficiency goes up so much, and you begin to realize how much extra time you have compared to what you had before. Okay, this one is a tough one. Change orders. We had a Microsoft Word document, okay, for all of our contracts, and we would sometimes have people sign them, sometimes we wouldn't. We considered ourselves a handshake company. We would say, this is what you agreed to, this is what we agreed to, let's shake on it, and that's what we're going to agree to. It's hard to see on here, but this is one job we did. It was a very large remodel. There was 4 pages, if not more, of handwritten change orders with an amount next to it, with no signature, no approval, no time stamping. And then the homeowner would say, hey, where'd you get that from? I'm like, oh yeah, remember you texted me 3 weeks ago and said that was okay to do it. Or we had that phone conversation and, you told me to do it. And like, we didn't have that phone conversation. I'm like, yes, we did. They're like, no, we didn't. And I'm like, all right, I guess we'll either have to give it to you or we'll have to come up with a solution. So just having signed and approved change orders, again, changed everything for us. Time stamped. Again, a lot of you guys are probably doing JobTread or thinking about doing JobTread. It has changed everything for us, and this is probably one of the biggest things is there's no more confusion on a he said, she said. I've actually had people say, kind of a good friend of ours, like, no, I don't remember adding that. And I'm like, dude, you already signed the change order. You already signed the change order. It's right there. He's like, oh, I forgot I did that. So it's like, that has been so helpful for us to just be more efficient and clear on the scope of the work. Job leads. Here's another really helpful one for us is we used to manually log job leads. Again, spreadsheet after spreadsheet after spreadsheet, right? So we had these job leads and we'd color code them per either where they were located or what the job was, and then we'd call them back and make a note next to it, and it was just horrible, right? So now we started using the web form on JobTread. Every lead goes through the web form. Every time we get a text or a phone call, we say, great, fill out this form, and then we'll get back with you. We're still working on a little bit better solutions to get back with people quicker because we have so many leads coming in right now. Last year at JobTread Connect, we learned the importance of qualifying our leads. This was one thing that we were struggling at so much. We would get a lead, we would call them, we would explain our process, and then we would go on site. And then we'd give them a bid for $100,000, and they would say, my budget was 30. And you're like, oh, why didn't you tell me that? And they're like, why didn't you ask? And it's like, I guess we could have done a better job at that. So now, every time we get a lead, we have them fill out our web form. It automatically comes into a field called New Leads on JobTread, and we have what's called a discovery call with them. So we set up a discovery call. This is something we learned last year as well, and we were already doing it, but now it's It's an automatic. We don't do it any other way. So we have a discovery call. We talk about budget, timeline, cost, where you're going to be at. Okay. So what happens is I say, hey, or in that web form, there's an investment or a budget. They put 40,000. And so we talk about that right away. It's okay to talk about your numbers immediately. Okay. I usually try not to say, hey, what's your budget? But I get the scope of the work. I talk about their timeline of when they're wanting to do it. Always talk about budget, because if they're 40,000 and you're in your head knowing it's going to be 100,000 and you're still going to go out there just to give them a free estimate or a very small consult fee, you're wasting so much time. So discovery call and qualifying leads, I'd say that was another thing from this past year that completely changed our business. Guys, we went from around 5 million in 2022 to 6 million in 2023 to over 9 million in 2024. 2024 was our very first year of using JobTread fully. We started in early 2023, but we were kind of doing things both at the same time. All of these things that we've done, I believe, has helped us to kind of skyrocket that business. What's next? So currently we're working on automations. There's too much room for human error. We're humans, right? We make mistakes. We forget to do things. So our next steps and our solutions for our issues is we're working on more automations. That's why I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to go into some of these other rooms, the automation lab, to learn about what other people are doing. We've started putting automations into our systems right now, but we're hoping to get into a little bit more. And I think that's what's next, is how we become more efficient, okay? Because I have 3 kids. I coach their baseball teams, their basketball teams, their golf. I own a business. I have a men's group that I lead. There's just so many things that we do, and I need to find more time, okay? So one of the things that we've been doing and we used to do is someone would sign a contract, and then we would have to tell our project manager, hey, go ahead and send them the YouTube video that shows them how to use the JobTread portal. Well, one of the best things we did is we made that an automation. Anytime someone signs a contract, it automatically sends them that customer video. It's a 4-minute YouTube video. I believe Anna's speaking on it. And then none of our project managers have to remember to do that, okay? It takes out human error. So that's one of them. Of what's next. Okay, this isn't working. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay, so we talked about this before. Do common things uncommonly well. What does that mean? Show up to your appointments, answer your phone, get back with your leads quickly, send quotes immediately, ask for reviews, follow up with leads. Does that stuff sound hard? No, that's easy stuff, okay? But how do we separate ourselves? Guys, we're in construction or we're contractors. A lot of times, all you have to do is do common things uncommonly well to separate yourselves, okay? I don't know how many jobs I've been to where I'm like, oh, are you guys getting other bids? Because I'm okay. I ask questions. I ask lots of questions. And a lot of times people don't want to tell you that. And they're like, yeah, I've had 3 people out. I'm like, okay, well, what'd you think of their costs? They're like, well, haven't got any bids back. I'm like, well, why not? When did they come? Well, it's been about a month and a half. And I'm like, have they reached out? They're like, no, haven't reached out. Contractors aren't very good at doing common things uncommonly well. If you don't want that job, just tell them, hey, we're not interested. Your budget doesn't align. I know it's hard to do, but it's the right thing to do. But again, it makes us look better when we do these common things uncommonly well. There's one contractor in our area. He's sky high, and I don't know why. But we've always talked about, and I don't think he does a great job. He doesn't have a great reputation. But I've always talked about taking his cards and just throwing them out the front door as I leave, because I'm like, yes, call him. I hope I'm up against him. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide here. The first secret, and guys, these aren't secrets. You guys all know there's no secrets that are going to make you double your business in 2 years, right? Strategies, pillars, things that define us, right? So the first one was values. The second one is people. Find people who believe in you. Partner yourself with people who believe in you. Okay, I have my family who's always believed in me. I have my parents who have never given up on me, even when they probably should have, okay? I did a lot of pretty terrible things. And my dad always says he's got all of his gray hair from me, not my brother or my sister, because it was a stressful few years of me running wild, okay? I have a men's group that I lead. It's about 10 or 15 men in that group, and we encourage each other, we lift each other up, but they believe in me. They've been texting me all day long. My aunt has texted me, my grandma's texted me. All these people have texted me about today because they knew this was my day to speak. Friends, employees, we have 18 people who work for us, okay? Or I'm sorry, we have 18 people including us. They are excited for me to be here. They have all been super happy for me to come up, and they believe that I'm deserving because we treat our people well. But find people who will lift you up and encourage you. Since we're talking about people, we have to talk about people who bring you down. When I was in my years of, I don't even know what to call them, my unmotivated years, 2004 to 2008, 2009, I had people who were with me, we were running together, but they did not want me to be successful. I had to remove many people from my life, and it was really hard because they were my friends, they were my guys, but they were always trying to bring me back to where I was at. They did not want me to get better. They wanted me to stay with them, okay? So I've always said you need to find people who are going after the same things that you are. But again, I had to remove these relationships. I had to cut them off to become healthy. And it was really hard. I had spent 5 years, doing things with these people. And still to this day, I hardly have any communication with these 4 or 5 people that I considered at the time my best friends, but I couldn't keep doing what I was going to do. I used to tell people, I'm either going to die or be in jail. That's what I would tell people. That's where I was at. And I was okay with that. And that was horrible. So again, I have on here, I had someone tell me when my wife and I were going to get married that you guys won't make it 9 months. I haven't spoken to him in 15 years. So, and here we are in our 15th year of marriage. Customers, most important part of your business. We've tailored our business around what our customers want, and we're personal in everything that we do. Even when I was in the car business, okay, I didn't love it. Because I even through my bad years, I was still a nice guy. I was still personable. I could still talk to anybody. So that's why I was good at what I did. But one of the things I learned in the car business is you learn common ground, okay? Common ground is finding something common with somebody that you like maybe. So what happened is someone would come and they would drive their car to me, and I'd get in their car and drive their car to test drive it, right? And I would see golf clubs in the back of their car. And I'm like, oh, you golf? Oh, me too, right? And you see their walls. In the car business, everybody who comes into you, they hate you already. They do not like you, right? So they have these walls that are up here. That's what we learned. You have to break down their walls. So I'd say, oh, you like golf? Oh, me too. I'm a huge golfer. Where have you been? And you see their walls start dropping. And then you see a car seat in your car. And then you're like, oh, you have a baby? Oh, I have 3. And they're like, oh, you do? You're so young. I'm like, I know if I shaved my beard, I'd look like I was 18. That's why I have it. But then you see their walls start dropping down. And then when you get into their house and you see a cross on their wall, again, I'm a man of faith. And I might say, oh, what church do you go to? And they say, oh, I go to Northwoods. And I say, me too. And then you see their walls just completely drop. And now you're ready to sell them what you have to sell them, right? But for us, simplifying and making selections and pictures and samples easier has tailored to our customers so much better. I always tell people, sell your process, okay? We had a good process before. Again, this was, 10 years ago, 8 years ago when I started kind of looking at our processes and trying to get them better. It was okay. It was decent. But now we have a great one. Sell it. Show them your schedule. Show them your change orders. Show them your documents. Okay, show them these things of why you're going to do better than your other contractor who they're quoting against. Don't be afraid to tell them why they should choose you, okay? You don't have to be conceited. You don't have to be arrogant. I tell people all the time, hey, someone else might build you a house and it might look similar to us, but our processes will blow them out of the water. And they say, what do you mean? And I say, here, let me show you. Let me show you our selections process. Let me show you our schedule. Let me show you our 165 Google reviews. Let me show you all of these things that separate ourselves from our competitor. Employees. Guys, I'm going to read a few of these. I just asked our employees, I said, hey, what do you guys like about us? What do you like about our business? I'm just going to read some of these for what they said. You are very trustworthy and honorable. You make God the center of the business and give him glory in it all. You do an excellent job of treating your people well. If I truly just felt like a replaceable body, I would have been gone long ago. I really like that we have company vans and Menards money is nice. Family atmosphere, making sure we stay warm in the winter and hydrated in summer. Also, the extras that you give out, gas, Menards money, extra money, tools. It's been a long time since I have a family atmosphere and a job. I'm going to read a few more. You care about your employees. You don't micromanage us. You allow us to get what we need to get jobs done. You have created a family environment that balances production and compassion that creates a positive workplace at all times. The culture you guys have built in the office is very indicative of the type of people that you are. And guys, I didn't say this before. These are our carpenters, okay? These are our field guys who have said this. Okay, this last one, you are very personal to each employee and customer. It doesn't matter who they are. It's obvious your goal is to take care of your employees, and you are very hospitable and generous to employees and customers. Office guys, you are Christ-centered, family-focused, integrity-based, constant communication and care for homeowners in the construction process. Also for the employees, subs, and vendors. The constant contact with everyone and the care from top to bottom is by far the best I have been around in my career. You are understanding and trusting of your employees. Family life outside of work is important. Other companies would question and put extra stress on someone for missing work because of things that are out of their control. You don't do shoddy work. You don't cut corners. Things are always done right. You and your dad keep your word. If you say something will or needs to happen, it will happen. You are approachable, growth-minded, open to new ideas. As an employee, I feel like you genuinely care about each of us. So how do we provide for our employees? We try to have an office space and just an overall sense of camaraderie. We don't maybe do the greatest job at this all the time. We kind of get really busy and kind of forget, oh yeah, we need to reach out, see how everyone's doing. We need to have a meeting. But some of the things that we do is we give out cash bonuses. We give out Menards money. If anybody has Menards where they're at, or anybody knows it's mini Home Depot or mini Lowe's, we get a lot of Menards money. We just give them out to our guys. Sometimes it's $200 or $300. Sometimes it's $70. We do a simple IRA or a 3% match. So anytime anybody puts something into their IRA, we give them the highest match we can. We buy all their tools. We give them Christmas bonuses. We pay for their phones. We give them vacations and holidays. And I just put on here, get creative. Small things can do big things, okay? What we've realized and experienced is our guys, they need things. They need to be affirmed. It feels like every 3 months we have to give them something just to feel like they're still worthy, okay? Our employees, we have like inside guys, which is like our office people, project manager, salesman, designer, and we have outside guys. And for a long time, our outside guys were like, we want to be a black shirt, which the office people wore black, and the outside guys in the summer wear gray. And we're like, you guys aren't black or gray. We're all the same team, but we never knew that. Like they need affirmation, and we try to give that to them as much as possible. Feedback from employees is huge. We've started doing evaluations. We try to do them, I put every 6 to 10 months because we have 15 people other than myself, my dad, and my mom that we need to do evaluations for. But it's so important to hear what they need, what they think can do, what they think can go better. We just want to hear from them all the time. And again, sometimes you might hear something and say, no, we're not going to do that. But if they feel heard, they're going to want to stay for longer. We have whole team meetings. We have group team meetings, inside meetings. So office people, salesmen, designer. We have outside meetings with just our field guys, our carpenters, our laborers, team building and camaraderie. We've gone to the golf simulators a few times. We do breakfast or lunch, snacks and drinks. We have drawers in our showroom, in our kitchen, where we usually just pack them full of snacks. Good snacks, bad snacks, candy, crap. I like the healthy snacks. But we keep waters, sometimes Gatorades or sodas. Like, we just keep things in there because they come in, we get to see them. I don't get to see them as much as I used to. My dad doesn't get to see them as much as he used to. We used to be on every single job. Now we can't because there's so many of them. But this stuff is easy. We do these common things uncommonly well, okay? So I think that's important. I heard this, or I saw this on Twitter. This guy's name is Nick Huber. I don't know. I think he's a business guy. And actually, where I got the do common things uncommonly well is from him as well. But he wrote this, I don't know, a few months ago when I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. A way to make good money is get good at your job. A way to make great money is make other people great at their job. So what we have done since we've hired all these people now, I have 3 project managers under me. He has 1, and then we kind of all work together with the designer and the estimator. But if your employees are just going along, just kind of going through the motions and not getting the proper training, man, you're really stunting their growth, but you're stunting your company's growth, okay? So we go through, and we're not always perfect, but we're training our guys to be better at their job. We're having weekly meetings on, hey, this is what you should be doing. This is the way that you should be thinking, okay? A lot of times it's better to let them go, but at some point you have to give them the values and the baseline or the guidelines that they need to go off of. Trade partners, subcontractors. I was told not to call them subcontractors. My subcontractors don't seem to care, but we're going to call them trade partners. I sent out a text message to a few of my trade partners as well, and I said, hey, what do we do well? Again, why am I showing you this? Because it's the small things that go a long way, okay? So very good about tending to the needs of the customer. You make their vision come to life or help them find their own vision when they are feeling lost. You provide a detailed schedule. I haven't seen another contractor provide a detailed schedule with a time frame and completion date. Quick to adjust on the fly. Communication is great. Payments come quick, a lot quicker than other contractors, honestly. Let's see, here's another one. You pay quickly, which is huge. It helps keep the cash flow going. A lot of builders pressure us as a subcontractor to cut corners, which you and me are unwilling to do. I appreciate when there is an issue, you always find a way to help us get it resolved or pay us to get it resolved. A lot of builders say, just get it done, which isn't helpful at all. Very friendly, understanding when things come up out of our control and we run a day behind. Why do we treat our subs so well? I had one of my project managers actually, it was like, you guys do way too much for your subcontractors. He's like, why do you do this for them? They need to do this work themselves. And I'm like, you're right. But I love people, okay? So I love getting to work with my people, okay? I love getting to know them better. I love getting to become friends with them, okay? I had one of my subcontractors, she sent out a message and she said, I schedule things around your schedule, okay? And so it's so important for me to hear that they're gonna jump for you when you need them to jump for you, okay? Okay, tools. Here's the last one. There's one place for everything. There's a software job tread, tailored and customized for your business needs, streamlining processes and efficiency, people who truly care about making your business better, more opportunity to spend time with family or have a flexible schedule, daily logs from employees, and it solves so many problems. Job tread has literally changed everything for us. We had all these pain points. We started in Builder Trend for 6 months, and we were doing things both ways. So we were doing Builder Trend, and we were doing our old way, Google Docs and Sheets, and I just couldn't make the jump to change things over. So then we started Job Tread. We did Job Tread, I think it was November 2022. We briefly started it, and then same thing. We were doing things for 6 months. We were doing Job Tread, and we were doing our old way of doing things. And finally, we were like, man, we just have to jump into this. We know this is what we want to do, but we couldn't convince our subs and employees to switch. So we started training them. We started training our subs and employees. We went all in 100%, and immediately we saw the results. Our first full year at Job Tread, again, 2023, we were kind of half in, half out. That's when we saw a little bit of growth, but we knew it was there, $6 million. And in 2024, it was completely all in with Job Tread, and we hit over $9 million, and we think that can continue to rise. So I'm running a little bit low on time. You guys have already seen these slides, so they're just another area, our pain points, and what Job Tread has actually done for us and meant for us. I'm just going to go back really quick. So when I called, I sent in something for JobTread. Again, this was November 2022. Eric called me within like 15 minutes. And I know they were smaller then, so I'm not sure if he does that every time, but it was pretty awesome to hear from the CEO of the company of what his vision was. And I think we signed up the next morning because it was like 5:30 at night when he called me. I can't say enough for what JobTread has done for our company. They care about us. They care about me. I've had Travis as my success manager. I've got to work with Anna a lot. Like, they genuinely want your business to grow, and they want it to be easier for you. I have seen myself spending more time with my children, with my family, because of the processes and the efficiency that we've been able to put into effect with JobTread. I'm going to go into a few more tools that we've used, and I'm going to kind of run through these quickly. So how do we stay connected to our customers? We give out a gift box to every one of our customers after the job is done. In the gift box, my dad made his own coffee blend. He likes coffee. So we give out coffee. We give out Heinold Homes mugs, Heinold Homes pens, Heinold Homes golf balls, Pro V1s, by the way. Heinold Homes flashlights, Heinold Homes keychains. Okay, we want them to remember us, okay? Because then they're going to tell their friends. They're going to tell their family. Someone's going to say, "Who did you use?" And they're going to say, "Heinold Homes." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've seen their trucks everywhere." Okay, every Christmas, we bake our own cookies. My sister's a pastry chef, okay? So we bake cookies and we give them out to pretty much every single job that we did for the year. Why? Because it keeps your name in their mouth all the time, okay? I had, let me see if it's on here. I had a homeowner after we got cookies. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so I had a homeowner. We had done 4 jobs for her, and she got her cookies here a couple weeks ago. And this is what she texted me back. She said, "Top notch with the cookies. Heinold is on another level." Do you guys want to be on another level? There you go. Maybe it's not always cookies, but people like stuff, okay? It's important to keep your name in their mouth. Ask for reviews. Give them a reminder every few months. We currently have 165 reviews on Google and Facebook. All I've done is ask. We have like a survey we send out at the end of jobs, and we just say, "Hey, if you were satisfied with this job, would you just leave us a 5-star review?" I think there's a review place here. Talk to Nice. I think it's Nice Job. Talk to them. If someone doesn't give me a review, I keep a list. And every 3 or 4 months, I might send them, "Hey, were you happy with your job? Would you leave us a review?" What do reviews do for you? They increase brand visibility. I'm going to go through at the bottom here. It helps gain trust in a business that is scattered with mistrust, okay? We're contractors. We're construction people. A lot of times, we aren't good at these processes or these small things. Again, I got to wrap up here, so I'm going to go quickly. Branding, Facebook, Instagram. We do what's called a Friday feature. Every single Friday since May of 2022, we've posted a new job that we've completed. Not many people can do that because we completed 119 jobs in 2023 and 100 in 2024. What's crazy about those 119 jobs, we completed 119 and we did $6 million. This past year, we focused on qualifying our leads, doing larger jobs. We did 100 jobs and did over $9 million this past year. Billboards, branding. We want Heinold on everything. We have 15 wrapped vehicles out right now. All of our guys wear our Heinold clothes. They're all in black, by the way, no gray shirts. Why do we spend money on this? It creates more trust. Branding is important. My dad has always said, you have to spend money to make money. Okay, I'm a lot of times on the bottom end of that. He's not afraid to spend it, and that's good, okay? Pictures, website. We have probably 20,000 pictures on a Google Drive album that's all in alphabetical order. You can see it before and afters, fireplace walls, bathrooms, outdoor jobs, roof covers, etc. We keep them all in alphabetical order. Every single job that we do that's kind of worthy of a picture taken. Know your why. Guys, my first why is my faith in Jesus. He has brought me out of the depths of where I was at in 2008 to where I am now in 2025. I would not be here if it wasn't for him. I would not be here if it wasn't for my family. There's my beautiful wife and my 3 kids. 13, 8, and 6 are my kids. And my purpose. I feel like God's called me to be a leader. And I get to do that in my business every day. I get to do that in my men's group that I lead. I get to do that for my family. And I'm just so excited that Irma Pena came to me that day and said, you are supposed to be building strong foundations and working with your hands. Because I wouldn't be here if she did not tell me that. I promise you that. All right, I think we have just a couple minutes for questions. And yeah, fire away.
Testing. Hey folks, I'm Hilario with JobTread. So if you've got a question, just come up to the center of the line and me and Dan will bring the mic over to y'all. Perfect, first one right here.
The web form that you use to qualify leads, is that somehow integrated into your website, and where do you put that on your website, et cetera?
Yeah, it is integrated into the website. We had our website people help us to do that. I believe it's just a contact us button that they click on and that web form comes up. But it's a JobTread web form. So you can talk to any of the guys here and they should be able to help you. I believe if you click on settings in JobTread, there's another tab that says web forms and you click on that and you can create your own web form there. So I have a link on my phone. My dad has a link on his phone. We just press a button that says quote, I believe, and it automatically pulls up that link and we just press send and it sends it to the homeowner at that point. So
I'm Philip from Nashville.
Yeah.
Also do remodeling. So you got a lot of great ideas. Give me top 5 for a smaller startup company. What would you focus on if you were starting from scratch?
Are you saying ideas or plans for a business that is kind of already, like ideas to begin a business, or have you already started the business?
Like everything you presented, like obviously your purpose, your mission and stuff like that, but like, hey, this was a game changer in marketing, or this was a game change in taking care of employees. Like, just what's like, these are the biggest ROI off these.
Yeah, Facebook was the biggest one for us, hands down. We have, 5,000 followers on Facebook, but posting a new job every week on Facebook, I don't know how many jobs we get from people that just say, hey, how'd you hear about us? Oh, I've been following you on Facebook for 2 years, or whatever it is. So just constantly putting your work out there, I would say 1. Number 2, for us this past year was qualifying our leads. It was the best thing that we did. Our discovery calls, I had a call the other day with somebody, it was 20 minutes long. I thought we were going to be able to go on site, and after talking with her, we were so far off, we would have spent probably 8 hours on that rather than a 20-minute phone call. So there's a couple good ones that are takeaways from that. So JobTread, I don't just say that because I'm here, but I promise you, we would have never been able to scale like we did in a year and a half. We just wouldn't have. No way. So streamlining processes.
Got another question for you here.
Yeah. Where you at? Oh, there we go.
Good morning.
Okay.
Thank you for the inspiration today.
Yeah.
I'm Eric, Charlotte, North Carolina, general contractor and owner of my company, Beyond Home Services. We doubled our revenue year over year the last 3 years, and I'm finding it difficult, probably a lot like you, to spend the money, not like your dad. I'm more like you down here.
Yeah.
I would like to insert someone between me and the crews in the field. Could you speak more to how you guys did that over the years?
Yeah, so we hired one project manager at a time, is basically what we call them. What they do is they take the job when it gets sold and they start putting it into place, right? They start helping with selections, and now we have a designer and a selections coordinator that's really kind of taken over that role as well. So we started hiring one at a time, because when we hired me, we were like, I don't know if we can stay busy. And then we hired our guy named Bryce, and we were like, I don't know if he's going to stay busy. And so every single time we hired another project manager, which right now we have 4, we were like, we don't know if they're going to stay busy, right? We still feel like there might be a little bit of a gap where we could have somebody like a VP of operations in between us and our project managers to kind of help, because what happens is everybody comes to us for everything, which is good. We like to hear those questions. We like to be in the business that way, but we don't want to handle all the responsibility, and we feel like we're taking a lot of that. So I would say one at a time is the best way to start, but there's still room for us to grow in that area too. So, yeah, but I'm like you. I'm like, do we really need to spend that $3,000, you know? And then it shows off that it was a well worth investment. So I
think we got another question over here.
Hi, I'm David. I'm from Dallas here. What is your expectations with your trade partners when it comes to using JobTread?
Yeah, they have to use it.
What features besides maybe looking at the schedule?
Yeah, it's mostly just schedule right now. Some of them will put a daily log, but it's not required at this point for them to do a daily log. But all communication is mostly on JobTread as well. So anytime we communicate with them, it's generally on JobTread. Now, as everybody knows, a text message is nice to get something quickly, right away if it's needed. But they have to use it. They like it. That's the thing. It just takes them a while to get used to it in the beginning. So, and we just said, hey, if you want to use us, which most people do because we give them so much work, you're going to have to use it. And I've had people like, there's no way Brett is going to do this. And then Brett's like, I love JobTread, So, yeah.
Dylan Rooney, Austin, Texas. Follow-up question. I'm just in the middle of hiring our first project manager, and I'm kind of getting a lot of kickback from the guys in the field. I got 4 guys out there. I used to always been out there, got off the tools in April, so now I'm trying to grow and scale, but I'm getting pushback because we had a relationship with the guys in the field, or I did, and now I'm putting that wedge in between. So I'm getting a lot of hesitation on, well, why do we even need this project manager?
Yeah.
So did you run into that as well, and how do you kind of overcome it?
Yeah, so we hired a carpenter. His name was Bryce, and decent carpenter. He was slow, and he's going to listen to this, so he'll know. A little bit slower, very quality oriented, right? But he was only with us for 10 months, and then he came up as a project manager. Well, there was other people who were here longer than he was, right? So those conversations were definitely hard. I think most people recognize, though, that Bryce's overall strength wasn't carpentry, it was people, And so I think that is hard to overcome. And for us, eventually one of them that was kind of pushing back a little bit came into the office as well. So, and that's what we tell people, guys, we're still growing. There's opportunity to move up. Sometimes people move up faster than others, and I know it's not fair, but we're adults and life isn't fair, And the best way possible that I can say is you try to be as nice to them as possible, and maybe even what I've started to do for some of them, come up with a 5-year plan. Hey, this is where we'd like to see you in 5 years, so then they have a vision of what their future actually looks like still.
Hey folks, this is Hilario. We got time for one last question.
Jonathan Janacek from Rogers, Arkansas. As a second generation myself, I'm curious what your biggest struggle was working with your father and the transition you've had. And maybe your best advice for anybody else looking to do the same.
Close your ears. Yeah, that's hard. So I will say my dad growing up has been my hero, okay? So growing up, I went through a lot of stuff, and he was always there for me, backing me up. He was always the one who would encourage me and lift me up. I grew up never thinking he did anything wrong. I really did. I'm like, he doesn't sin, he doesn't make mistakes. That's just how I thought of him. And as we get older, I'm like, man, he's messed up just like me. So my dad and I agree on most everything, which is super helpful, okay? We agree on probably 99% of the things. That number is starting to go down a little bit as he gets older. One of the struggles, I think, though, was things that cost this much. He might think things cost this much, and sometimes I have to say, hey, it's 2025, and, things are a lot more than what they were in 97, right? So a flooring allowance shouldn't be $3,000, it should be $6,000 or whatever it is. So I think that's probably one of our biggest struggles is figuring out where numbers should be at. But I mean, he has a little bit more different mentality on a few things. But I don't know. It's been really easy for me. I know it's extremely hard for other people to work with their dad. I work with my mom as well. She's in the office every day, and my sister has started a little bit as well. So it's a whole family dynamic. But yeah, it's hard. You have to forge your own path, right? And work together. We just had something the other day. He wanted a door in our selections room and through our conference room. And I'm like, no, I don't want a door there. He's like, we should have a door there. I'm like, please don't put a door there. Who do you think won? We didn't put a door there. And he said it twice now. He's like, man, I'm so glad we didn't put a door there. I'm like, see, I told you that door would have been horrible there. So it's compromise, right? You have to compromise. You have to learn and grow with each other. But yeah, it's not easy. For us, it's easier than most people, I'm sure. So yeah, and I'd be more than happy to pop over here too after this and answer a few more questions if anybody else has any. So thank you guys. Thank you. Have a good day. Enjoy. If you guys see me around here, say hi.